All right, diving into Kyoto. I'm so ready for this. You've sent me like travel guides, blog posts, even a Reddit thread. It's going to be awesome to get that mix of like the classic Kyoto spots and those hidden gems.
Yeah, totally. And we're not just going to like list off places, right? We're going to figure out what really speaks to you within each spot. So your trip is like tailored to your interest.
Love that. Okay, so first up, got to start with Fushimi Inari, right? Like it's the image of Kyoto. Thousands of those orange gates winding up the mountainside. I mean, visually, it's just stunning. You even sent me a video with drone footage flying through them. Crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But it's not just about the looks, Each of those gates is actually donated by a business and they do it hoping for good luck. It's a spiritual thing. That's actually why there are so many. And the full hike is super popular, but there are also shorter paths that lead to some amazing viewpoints. Perfect if you're not up for like the full climb, but still want that iconic photo.
For sure. And speaking of avoiding crowds, your Reddit thread had some solid advice. Early morning or late evening seems key. Oh, and someone also suggested going on a weekday if possible, because it's a big hit with weekend day trippers.
That's smart. And that Reddit thread, honestly, those people had some amazing photography tips too. Apparently, the early morning light just filters through the gates in the most magical way. And using a wide-angle lens, that was another suggestion, to really capture the scope of the paths.
Awesome. So we got breathtaking views, spiritual significance, and photography advice. Fushimi Inari's definitely got it all going on. Okay, let's move on to another classic Kiyomizu-dera Temple. It's this amazing temple. Perched on a hillside, you get panoramic views of the city, and it's been around since, get this, 778 AD. That just blows my mind.
It really is incredible. And the architecture is just amazing. The main hall, the one dedicated to Kannon, the goddess of mercy, it's built entirely without nails. Can you believe that? Talk about craftsmanship.
It's held up by 139 massive pillars. The sources all say it's the spot to watch the seasons change.
And the spot for crowds, too, unfortunately. All your guidebooks, they all agree 6 a.m. That's the magic time to beat the tour groups and just, soap up that serenity. Imagine the city waking up below you. It must be magical.
I'm already picturing it. Those descriptions in these sources, they really transport you. All right, moving right along, time for Kinkaku-ji Temple. The Golden Pavilion. It's literally covered in gold leaf. It's just dazzling.
It's definitely a showstopper, but it's not all about the glitz and glamour. In Zen Buddhism, gold represents enlightenment, purification. So when you see the pavilion reflected in the pond, it's also a reflection of your own inner journey.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it that way. That's beautiful. Oh, also, side note, your blog post mentioned they have English fortunes you can get from a vending machine there. That's kind of funny. That's unexpected. Okay, now Gion, the Geisha District. It's like stepping back in time. Your sources talk about these wooden makiya houses, cobblestone streets, lanterns glowing at dusk.
Gion is all about that atmosphere, preserving those traditions. The geisha are such a huge part of that. They're these highly skilled entertainers, and they've been part of Kyoto's culture for centuries. They dedicate their lives to these traditional arts like dance and music and tea ceremony. It's a whole world of its own, really mysterious and elegant.
And it sounds like the best way to experience it is to just wander, get lost in those narrow streets and alleyways. A couple of your sources specifically mentioned Hanamikoji Street as a must-see, especially at dusk when the lanterns come on.
Yeah, it's a classic spot, but there are also these tiny hidden alleyways where you might, catch a glimpse of everyday life away from all the tourists. Oh, and your Reddit thread had some great tips about how to respectfully observe the geisha without being, intrusive. It's important to be mindful of their space.
Absolutely. So much to think about. The visual beauty, the culture, the ethical considerations. Gion's definitely moved way up my list. Now, speaking of serene landscapes, Arashiyama. Arashiyama, it just looks so peaceful. Totally different vibe from the city. Bamboo groves, that iconic Togetsuki Bridge, boat rides down the Hosogawa River.
Oh, yeah, classic Arashiyama. It's a super popular day trip from Kyoto. But some of your sources, they actually recommend staying overnight. Apparently, after the day trippers head back, it gets way more chill in the evening. Imagine, strolling through the bamboo grove at night, under the moonlight. How cool would that be?
That sounds magical. And the food scene there, oh, if I'm already hungry. All those street food stalls, all that traditional Japanese stuff, sweets, savory snacks. Your blog post, seriously, some of those descriptions.
Oh, yeah, and the tea houses, don't forget those. Arashiyama is known for its matcha, right? And there are all these traditional tea houses cooked away in the hills where you can, sip your tea with these amazing views. It's all about slowing down, enjoying the moment.
I'm sold. Okay, so stunning nature, awesome food, and a more relaxed vibe. Arashiyama is definitely happening. Back in the city, we have another temple on the list, Kinkaku-ji, the Silver Pavilion.
This one's kind of funny, actually, because it's not actually silver. It's in the name. But, yeah, it's kind of misleading. But you know what? Not having that silver leaf actually makes it even more beautiful in a way.
Yeah, totally. It was supposed to be covered in silver, but it never happened. So we get this perfectly preserved Zen temple with moss gardens and even a sand garden meant to look like a moonlit landscape.
It's a great example of, well, Japanese aesthetics in general, I guess, like embracing imperfection, the natural world, moss-covered walls, carefully raked sand. There's a beauty in that simplicity.
Absolutely. Your guidebook mentioned the Kananden Hall as a must-see. It reflects in the pond. Apparently, it's especially stunning in the Miming Wrist. All right, let's move on to Kodaiji Temple, another one with incredible gardens.
Right, so this is interesting. It was built by a woman, Nina. She's a pretty powerful figure, and she built it in memory of her husband, the warlord Toyotomi Hideyoshi. It's got these gorgeous gardens, and one of the highlights is this weeping cherry tree. They say it's over 400 years old.
Wow, that's amazing. Your blog post had pictures of the temple all lit up at night. Apparently, they do special illuminations in April, August, and November. I bet it's breathtaking.
Oh yeah, the illuminations are super popular, so if you're interested, definitely plan in advance. But even during the day, the gardens are just so peaceful. A nice little oasis in the middle of the city.
All right, last but not least, we got to talk about Nishiki Market. Oh man, this place looks like sensory overload in the best possible way.
Now, this is where things get interesting. Your sources, they all paint this picture, but it's a very broad picture. Fresh seafood, pickled vegetables, traditional sweets, handmade crafts, you name it, it's probably there. But to really, get the most out of it, we need to know what you're into. Are you a foodie, a souvenir person, or just curious to soak up that local vibes?
That's a great point. Okay, so if you're a foodie, your Reddit thread had some suggestions, like you got to try the grilled mochi and the sukimono, that's like pickled vegetables, so many different kinds. For souvenirs, there are tons of stalls selling hand-painted fans, silk scarves, and traditional ceramics.
It's about having a plan, you know what I mean? The Nishiki Market can be overwhelming, so it helps to have some idea of what you want to see and experience. Otherwise, you'll just get swept away.
Okay, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed just thinking about it, but in a good way. It's amazing we've covered so much in this deep dive. Iconic temples, hidden alleyways, teamful gardens, bustling markets. Kyoto really does have something for everyone.
It does, and we've gone over all these insider tips, how to avoid crowds, how to get those perfect photos, how to experience the culture respectfully. I think we've got you covered.
I think so too. But beyond all the practical stuff, it's really about, discovering what speaks to you. What are you drawn to? Do you like the grandeur of Fushimi Inari or that more understated beauty of Kinkaku-ji? Maybe the history of Kiyomizu-dera is your thing. Or maybe you're all about the Zen vibes of Arashiyama's bamboo grove. Yeah, it's like we've given you all the pieces of the puzzle, and now it's your turn to, put it together. Create your own perfect Kyoto trip.
That's it. And don't forget, plans change. Be flexible. You might stumble upon a cool cafe or some hidden alleyway that just grabs your attention. And those are the moments, you got to just go with it. Those unexpected detours are usually the most memorable.
Totally. Actually, your guidebooks, they mentioned a couple of neighborhoods that are a little more off the beaten path, like that Michigan Textile District or those pottery shops in the Kyubi-Suzaka area. Maybe not as famous as Gion or Fushimi Inari, but they give you a glimpse into real life in Kyoto.
Totally agree. So as you're planning, remember, it's not just about where you go, it's about how you get there. Be open to the unexpected, enjoy the little moments, and, just let Kyoto work its magic.
I love that. And who knows, maybe you'll find your own hidden gem, your own personal Kyoto secret, something you'll remember forever.
Exactly. We've given you the tools and the knowledge, but the experience, that's all yours to create. Enjoy it.
Happy travels. Sax VI.